Welcome to Harmony Hills Home and Garden. I'm Jenny, and we live and garden here in Baltimore, Maryland, Zone 7. Today I'm going to be planting 3 new Emerald Green Arborvitae along our fence line to continue the project of providing a buffer of greenery and privacy on the fence line. So come with me and let's talk about this greenery project and get it underway. If you've been a Harmony Hills follower for a while, then you may remember when we created this first phase of our gardens back here. We cut out the grass from this back area. We put in the arbor, we put in the dogwood tree, and these 3 Emerald Green Arborvitae. And the idea was they come out in a curve along the bottom of the garden down there, and they block off from view this fence and gate that are back there behind the back corner of the yard. And so they are growing really wonderfully. I did have a little trouble with them browning out, but I think I've solved that problem. And they look really good. And then we have this fence along here that hasn't really received much attention in terms of gardening. Let's go take a look at what's already there. Up here at the top, we have this wax leaf privet, which has really turned into a small tree. And then we have some azaleas. We have a Fothergilla, some more azaleas, some hosta azalea. And then right there is pink chiffon rose of Sharon. So, and then we have the 3 arborvitae. So in here we have vinca, evergreen vinca, which is technically, it is an invasive species in Maryland. And over the course of time, I will be removing that, but for now I'm going to keep it because it does provide ground cover. And then these green things are coming through the fence from the neighbor's yard, and we'll be cutting those off the fence so that we can kind of clear up this little area here. So that's what's here right now. The sun and shadows are kind of making it a little bit difficult to see, but what I'd really love to have is a mixed border of evergreen screening. Now, I don't want to just do a row of arborvitaes all the way up the hill because that's a monoculture. What if you lose one? Then you never really catch up to having them all match anymore. And so I think I'm going to be putting in a variety of different ways to hide the fence from view. So starting with 3 more evergreens, 3 more Emerald Green Arborvitaes, but not in a row. Instead of planting them in a row, I think I'm going to make a little triangle trio of them. So I'll have 1 out front and then 2 along the fence. It'll make this little triangle area. Well, they will grow up and grow together and be this beautiful green buffer. But then there will also be space between the Rose of Sharon and the Emerald Green Arborvitae, so that I could put in like Blue Point Juniper or some other tall evergreen shading thing. Now, this maple tree, belongs to our next door neighbor. I don't know their plans. I don't imagine they plan to cut it down anytime soon. This wax leaf privet belongs to us. I could take it down. In fact, I might in the future, but for now, I'm going to leave it since I don't have a plan for anything else. So I think what I'm going to do today is place these 3 Emerald Green Arborvitaes down in this area in a triangle shape and see what they end up looking like. I think before I try to place the arborvitae, I need to trim back all this greenery that I want to get out of the way so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I've cleared out what's along the fence, what was in the bed mostly, and I limbed up a little bit of the tree up above. So now I think I can see a little bit better where I want to place my new arborvitaes. Now, I do have in here some things that I do want to keep. somewhere in the garden. I want to keep these snow white azaleas. And the hosta is a hosta lancifolia. We have a lot of them. They're very common in our garden. And I'm happy to take it out and move it to another location if the design calls for that. So I think I'm going to play around a little bit with placing the new arborvitae and see what strikes my fancy. Now the tag says that their 10-year growth is 8 to 12 feet tall and 3 to 4 feet wide. Now, they can be pruned or trimmed to be hedged, so you can size control them that way. They do get larger than 12 feet tall in maturity if, over 15, 20 years. But you can hedge them and control their size. You can top them if they reach the height that you want, just cut the top leader, and that will make it bush out a little bit more. So there are ways you can control the size. Now, because this is going into a part sun location, it gets morning sun, but then around 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it starts to get shaded. So it's not 100% full sun. I think they won't have as aggressive of a growth habit as they would if they were in pure full sun. So I'm going to place them roughly the same distance from each other as I placed those, which was 1 shovel length apart on center. So that means I'm going to have to, if I want a triangle shape, I'm going to have to put quite a bit of distance in between them, which is fine. But I do want to plan for the mature growth of them, not for just the next 5 years or so. So with that in mind, I'm aiming for a shovel, my short shovel length between the center of their roots from each other. So let's see what we can do here. It's a little slopey, so it doesn't want to stand up. But so if I did those there, and then the third one, like right there. What do we think of that? I'm going to go walk around from a few different angles and see what it looks like. I like this angle because the one that's furthest down the hill is in the center of the other two. So that's nice. Same thing approaching from this angle. I think I might want to pull the front one out a little closer to the edge of the bed, although I don't want it too close because I don't want to have to trim it off of the pathway. From here, they're a little hard to see because of the shadows and sunlight, but I like the clump there, but I think maybe I want to pull it up this way a little bit, move all 3 of them to the left, like by a foot, and that would give us more room in this little planting area to do something. I'm thinking that if I put the trio there, then it creates a planting area here distinct from the planting area here, and that might be desirable. However, viewed from this angle, this is the right location for them because this planting space is actually quite wide, and then it would be a similar width of planting space on this side between this wax leaf privet and the clump. So I don't know. And also, I don't know if I'm keeping that wax leaf privet for the long term or not. Might replace it with some sort of juniper. But if I put these 3 here and then have these 3 here and then put a juniper in between, is that weird? Is that good? I don't know. Now here I've moved the entire clump to the left by about a foot. And that means I will have to move the azalea, where if I don't move it to the left, I'll just have to move the hosta and not the azalea. Also, this one doesn't cover the fence post anymore, where it used to before. All right, this is back in the original location with one behind this white azalea, one in front of the fence post, and then one out near the path, making a triangle. I think I like that one the best so far, but I do have one more idea that I want to try. In this version, I'm committing to just making a row of arborvitae. I'll just put the 3 in a row across there at the same distance that the original 3 are, and they're just shorter. And then I would feel like I would need to continue it up the hill, and then when do I stop? That's why I don't like this plan. as much because don't really want to have an entire row of arborvitaes. Rather have a mixed collection of evergreens so that if something fails, it hasn't entirely ruined the look. So I'm pretty sure I'm not going to do this. Also, I would need to move that Rose of Sharon if I did this too, because the spacing would be too close in the mature size of everything. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to do that. Another option is to just put 2 in here, and then instead of putting an arborvitae in the front as a triangle, I could put a different evergreen or interesting structural for winter interest plant. And then when these grow up and grow together, something like those are beginning to do, then this, whatever's in front of them, would become a winter interest highlight plant. And then I could take this third one and put it somewhere else in the garden. That's an option. The more I think about it, the more I think I should not put 3 here for sure. Because if I put 3 here, then that will be a big, hulking evergreen structure right in taking up the entirety of the width of this bed. Now, I don't have any plans to make this bed any wider because of the grass pathway that we have here, which is pretty much a fixed feature now. So I think I'm just going to put 1 arborvitae in this area. I'll put it right in front of this pole to hide the pole. Actually, I'm going to put it just a smidge uphill from the pole so that when we're at the top of the yard, it hides the pole first. And then as it grows, it'll cover the rest of the pole from all the other views. And then I'm going to take the other 2 arborvitaes and I'm going to sprinkle them around the garden in a way that starts to repeat elements of structure, but not feeling like I have to have rows and clumps of things. Now, from the design perspective, I don't know if this is the right way to go or not. I am not a garden designer, and as you know, if you've followed my channel for any length of time, you know I struggle with placement of things. I think I know what I'm doing, and then I put them in, and then I live with things for a year, and then I see, oh, that was really a bad idea. So I don't know if what I'm doing is the right thing or not, but I feel like putting 3 here is definitely not the right thing. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put 1 here and find places for the other 2. Here's the spot for 1 of the other 2. I had a camellia here. It pretty much failed on me over the winter. If I wanted to baby it along, it is putting out new growth, but I do not want my camellias to have this kind of ugliness on a regular basis. And actually, in the last 2 years, it has done something like this. So that's going to come out. And this is my tea olive. Yes, it's pushing new growth, but I want it to be an evergreen also. So I wanted these 2 things to be truly evergreen. Neither of them are in my garden, so they're both going to come out, which leaves this space. And I'm thinking, I do have this boxwood here, which is only 2 years in the hole. I could move it pretty easily. And I think I want to put this arborvitae on this fence post here. And then I'll probably center it on the flower bed, pull it forward from where it is right now, but I have to move the boxwood first. But I think if I center that on the flower bed, then at its mature growth, it will have plenty of room compared to the fence. And it has plenty of room to grow up tall here. And I think that that'll be nice. And then I think the third one is going to go over here by the patio and by the bird feeder. I have 4 endless summer hydrangeas in a curve here around the patio. I had another tea olive here, but again, it looks really terrible, and I don't want something to look terrible. And this has done this both years that I've had it in the garden, so it's just too cold here for it, so that's going to come out. This camellia, it stayed evergreen this year. It didn't lose all its leaves like the one down the hill did. So the one over there I'm taking out, but I think I'll let this camellia stay another year. It didn't give me any blooms this year. I think all the blooms got nipped off from a cold snap late in the season. But I will let that stay here. But I think if I put this arborvitae right there, then that'll be a nice, tall evergreen structure right in this patio area. You know, I came outside intending fully to put these evergreens over in a clump, in a triangle over there. And after thinking it through and really, really, really trying to think about the mature width, especially, and height of these trees, I realized that plan wasn't going to be a good one because of the various dimensions of the gardens that we have. So I do recommend that you take as much time as you can to think through many different possibilities and find the one that's the best. Oftentimes, I do go with my first idea, but sometimes when I go with my first idea, it turns out to not have been the best one. So take a minute, think through things before you start to plant, and then maybe, just maybe, you won't have to move something next year. So my planting technique is the same as it has been for a long time. I am clearing the space and digging a hole. Now I'm under some tree roots here, so I did encounter some tree roots. But I put some fertilizer into the hole. I used plant tone today because I was out of biotone. Then put the plant in there, make sure it's vertical, and then backfill the soil and water it in. I called in the reinforcements. My husband helped me with the second two. Again, just digging the hole and putting in the fertilizer. I'm not putting in any sort of soil amendments other than the fertilizer into the hole. We don't want to make the hole too comfy and cozy and then the roots stay in the hole rather than going out into the soil around. Again, asking my husband for help on, is it vertical? Making sure that it is to the best of our ability, and then backfilling with the native soil and watering it in. And the third one the same as well. Now, I did not yet move the boxwood that's there. I will be moving it. Today we ran out of energy, and my husband actually was working with a broken toe that we didn't know about until after the project was over. So yeah, we'll be moving the boxwood in the future, but I did get the arborvitae into the hole where I want it to go. It was a quick job to take out that tea olive. I'm really happy with the new placement that I came up with. Instead of putting all three of them right here, I think it's a much better solution to put one here, one up by the patio, by the bird feeder, and then one over on the fence. I'm really pleased with the way these look, and I think that it will set me up for success in the future with having a mixed evergreen border along the edges of our property rather than trying to do a whole row of the same thing. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. If you have any questions about what I did, please put them in the comment section down below. I'll be happy to try to answer them to the best of my ability. And I hope that you're having a wonderful day in your gardens. I'm so grateful that you decided to stop by and visit with us today. I hope you'll subscribe and hit the like button and all that jazz. And I hope I'll see you again in another video real soon, friends. Take care. Bye-bye.